Today's video is brought to you by Oxedo LED lighting. You might think that you can see just fine at night. Well, I did too, until I did this little upgrade. As you can see from this footage, here is some before Oxedo LED lighting, and here is some after Oxedo LED lighting. The difference is amazing. With high brightness and easy installation, Oxedo LED lighting is definitely the route for you. They're easy to install, and they're available for all makes and models. Click on the link in the description below and enter promo code 612motorsports at checkout to get yourself 15% off. Now back to our video. Hello and welcome back to another episode of 612 Motorsport. In today's episode, we're going to be breaking the S-10 Extreme out of its winter storage and let it see some daylight for the first time in months. So as you can see, I've opened the garage, and this is really the first time I've looked at it all year. And I see this puddle underneath, so I'm not sure what that's about. It looks a little red to me, like maybe some tranny fluid. It's looking a little wet up here, but we'll figure that out another day. We're gonna fire this thing up. Actually, we're gonna see if this will start up now. Woo-wee, it's good to be back in this baby. Let's see what happens here. We got voltage, we've got fuel, we've got power. Fingers crossed, boys. Holy smokes. What do you think about that? First startup in God. So it's been 7 months since this thing started, and it popped right off. Sounds good. I'm a little worried about that spot on the garage floor that I think might be tranny fluid, so I'm gonna let this thing warm up good, because with the automatic, you won't get a true reading of how full your tranny is on the dipstick unless your vehicle is warmed up and been running for a while. So that's what we're gonna do here, and we're gonna check that out in a few moments. I'm gonna pull it outside a little bit, just so I can have a little more room. I'm not crammed in this tight little garage. We're moving, boys. We'll just get it out here enough. Okay. So one thing I did notice that I failed to mention when I picked this up, and I haven't really gone over the whole thing as well as I'd like to, just because it was the end of the year, it was getting cold. I just wanted to really get it home, put in the garage, tucked away. At least that way, for my own peace of mind, I knew it was here, it was safe, and I didn't have to do anything until spring came along, except for hibernate. But one thing I did notice is this tint brow that they put on here. Well, somebody tried to take it off, and they just got the tint part of it, and all the stick is still there. So that's actually not even the tint. As you can see here, where it's like milky, hazy, streaky in a few spots, that's from where they must have started in the corner and got a little bit, and then one big swoop and peeled it all off. And actually, I can see it around the rearview mirror here. You can actually still see some of the actual tint. So we're gonna have to remove that. Thank God I am a pretty well seasoned pro at removing window tint and installing it, for that matter. So in today's episode, we're going to be replacing the headlights, the turn signals, and the third brake light. And none of them need to be replaced. It's just I want new, fresh. We're gonna get rid of those amber colored turn signals in the front, go with some clear ones. And we're gonna be replacing the cover for the third brake light, which is red, and we're gonna be replacing that with a clear one. But anybody that has an S10 might know this. The brake light bulb in there gets so hot that it kind of melts and distorts the actual cover. This has happened on my green 95, and I replaced that one with the clear one. And over the years, that one's kind of starting to get a little deformed as well. And now that's because of the old style bulbs that go in there. For this particular installation project, I went ahead and got some red LEDs. Now I'm hoping that that takes care of the problem, doesn't get so hot that it melts some of that plastic. So while I'm waiting for this to warm up a bit, I'm gonna go ahead and get things ready for our project. We're gonna be using our pry tool. We got our parts. We're gonna use this little rag so we're not marring anything up. Here are our new bulbs for the turn signals. And as you can see, headlights and everything are in good shape. I mean, they're not damaged or anything. Same with these. I do see some cracks in the plastic, which isn't a big deal, but yet it's something we don't want any water getting in or moisture condensation screwing things up. So I've had it running for about 15 minutes now, and we're gonna pop the hood and take a peek. So I'm thinking it probably would not hurt to replace or to add a little, but that's something we're gonna do at another time. Okay, so we're gonna turn that off and we're gonna get this project underway. And another thing we're gonna end up doing is taking this bug shield off the front here, because as I pointed out in a previous video, these screws, besides it being all jacked up and broken all over the place, stuff missing, we're gonna go ahead and remove that because those screw heads actually mess up the chrome on the top of the headlight trim. And if we're putting in new headlights, well, I don't want that to happen again, so we're gonna be removing that as well. And I think that's a good place to start. Okay, so we got that off, and it's a little grimy under here, so we're going to clean that up at some point also. But we might have to file down where these holes were. There's some burrs, and it just doesn't really look all that good, to be honest, so we're going to probably address that at some point. And then we got to get these little rubber bumpers off, and then we're probably going to have to buff out the hood good. Now I'm going to wait. I'm going to get my heat gun and I'm going to heat that up a little bit just to make that a little easier to get off of there. But that's step one, and to be honest, that is going to make a hell of a difference visually once this whole thing is together and done. So we're going to go ahead and knock this little puppy out. And if you remember from the giving the 02 Tan S-10 a facelift video, and if not, I will put a link somewhere up here to that video. This grill is not held on with one single bolt or screw. They're all little pressure flaps, so it's just going to snap right out. It's out, so we're gonna Put that down here nice and careful like. Alright, so first things first, we're going to pop these old ones out of here. And it looks like we got a broken retainer on one here. So we got the lenses out, and as I was saying, some of the tabs were broke. As you can see, this little, put it against the black, that end is busted. And that one, this one, also the two main parts of that are missing, so it was never tight in there to begin with. And I'm sure somebody didn't know how to get them off to replace a bulb, so they broke it to get it out. And in the process of doing so, they broke this little tab here. Now it is supposed to look like that. And it cracked or whatever. It didn't actually break, but when I got that off, this fell, which is supposed to sit in there like so. And what that's gonna do is hold this little tab on, so it holds that edge tight. So what I'm gonna do is glue this back on, and while that's drying and doing whatever, we can go ahead, put the other side in, we can change the bulbs itself, and then we can go right to the headlights. And by the time we get that done, this little piece here should be dry. Alright, so we got that glued on. It's in there pretty good. I suppose I could put a little more on, making sure that it's out of the areas where that is going to have to clip. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and replace these bulbs right away with orange ones, so that I'm still legal and not get pulled over. I'm using a 3057A. Make sure she's snapped in good and tight. We're just going to tuck that off to the side. And we're going to go ahead and repeat the process over here. Now, the way these little wires are lined up on here, they only fit in one way. So make sure you line up your contact points, just so you don't break the bulb in your hand, cut yourself up trying to force it in there. So we're in there good and tight. It's not coming out. We're going to tuck that one aside. And I am going to go ahead and keep the old bulbs. They're not burnt out. There's nothing wrong with them. Throw them in the glove box. If I need one in a pinch, at least it's there and it'll get me till I get an orange one. So let's go ahead and crack open this box and see what we got in there. And then once again, I am going to keep this box and the packaging to put the old stuff back in case I ever want to put them back, or I sell it, it can go with it, or if it breaks or something, I've got backup. So we're good. So we'll start here on the passenger side. Now these are super easy, and I can see that this is not held in tight where it needs to be either. As you can see, that these are supposed to be behind this thing. As you can see, it protrudes out, and this little shelf sets on top of that, which holds it in snug, gives you proper direction for your headlights to shine. To get these out, very simple. Once again, there's two little tabs here. You just pull them up, and just like that, the headlight falls right out. And that's because they didn't put those into the hole the way that it needs to fit. See, as you can see, that's how it's supposed to be. And then these little tabs here go into such hole. So we're just gonna go ahead and set that one there. We're gonna come over here, do the same, and this one's not held in either, so we're gonna be careful. Okay, so the bottom's not held in. Something is keeping the top. Okay, so let that come into focus. As you can see, this tab right where my finger is locked in. Now this tab is broken off over here, and they've put a bolt in there to hold it into place. So now the question is, we have to unbolt that, or is there enough room to where I can pull that through without ruining the hole? I just have to make sure I've got enough play here. And just like that, it's out. I'm just going to unplug them so that I do not risk the chance of touching the actual bulb themselves, because the oils on your finger will transmit to that, and then the heat caused when the light is on causes that oil to burn, and it'll burn your bulbs out faster. It's just not a good thing, so you do not want to touch those at all. These look really nice so far. I'm pretty impressed with them. This is the passenger side. Now it's got a whole different look from the factory. You see a big difference there. I'm hoping that it scatters the light a little bit better. Yeah, I'm excited, and they're a nice heavy-duty unit for an eBay buy. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to leave this plastic on until I get everything hooked up. Now actually this housing is metal as opposed to the factory plastic ones. Alright, let's throw this bad boy on and see what happens. First we got to transfer our bulbs. So I just want to take a quick moment to show you how these little clips work. As you'll see, there's a button here. I don't know how well I can get the best angle for you. There's a button, and that button is gonna fit through this hole here and slide down. Now you can see here's the little tab from the headlight, the part moving there. Now these little teeth on the end are gonna slide on each side of it from the back of it. I don't know if you can see that one, how that is. And that holds the bottom section of the light tight. So, as you see, there's a little more of a space in between there. You get that space, you line up your spot, and you push down, and that spreads around the side of that tab, locks onto there, and now you're good and tight. It's going to be tighter on the bottom because this here locks in, so you're going to have a little bit of play on the top, but it's not bad. And honestly, when the grill is on and everything is buttoned up, they don't bounce around. You don't see it on the road at night or anything, so that's really a good thing. And it makes swapping out your bulbs, any of that, really easy. All right, let's crack open these turn signals. Oof, it's getting chilly, boys. I'm gonna put my hood on. And actually, to begin with, I was only gonna replace these. But I found the headlights and turn signals as a package deal for almost the same price as these alone. So I figured, you know what? That's what we're gonna do. We'll replace them all nice and crisp. And like last time, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the old ones in the packaging right away and get them out of my way. I need a little space to work, and then that way too, I'm kind of cleaning as I go. Because like I said, it's cold and I kind of want to get this done with so I can go in and warm up and enjoy my evening. Alright, let's get a good look at these. Those are nice. They've got, now this is nothing. There's no spot for a bulb, nor on the factory one. It just had your single position. It does look like it has a nice reflector set in there. That's going to look pretty dang good in there. I'm anxious. Let's go ahead and... Okay, so I grabbed the grill, and we're going to go ahead and put in our lens. Snap. And snap. That's looking nice. Very tidy. So I'm just about ready to put the grill back in when I noticed that that little piece that I glued back in hadn't quite set up yet. So I'm just going to let it set up overnight. I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish that up. We'll finish the third brake light. For me, it's going to be some hours, but for you, it's going to be, right now. Alright, so it's the next day. It's a nicer day, but unfortunately we have a little more wind than we did yesterday, so I'm going to do this inside the garage instead of pulling it out a little bit. After looking at my epoxy job, I think we're going to be okay. It's pretty damn tight. I just want to make sure that this clip actually holds. Otherwise it's going to be loose on that corner, and I don't want that. So we're going to go ahead, throw this bad boy in. That sure looks sweet, boys. Let's get it put up in the deal. All right, so we got all that buttoned up. Let's get this thing installed. I'm gonna hook up our turn signals. Tucked in here somewhere. Well, I'd have to say that is a million times better. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and redo this third brake light cover, and we're gonna replace it with a clear one to match the new turn signals and kind of go along with the tail lights for completing the lighting theme anyways. Now, as you can see, these two spots here are where this lens has melted from the heat of these bulbs, and that's really common on these S10s, or pretty much anything where you've got your brake light like that. And that's mainly due because you're always standing on your brake at a stoplight, at an intersection, the drive-through, you know, the light's always on and those bulbs are going to conduct a lot of heat, which in return is going to melt your lens a little bit. So we're going to actually fix that problem from happening in the future. So we're going to put LEDs in this one, and they run a heck of a lot cooler, and hopefully that should not distort in the future. So fingers crossed. To test if it works, we're going to replace them in the other vehicle as well. So let's go ahead and swap that cover. I'm going to show you what this looks like now. And then we're going to go ahead and show you what it looks like after. So my GoPro battery died, and I didn't realize it till after I already had everything switched over. But as you can see, we've got the new clear cover on, and there are two LED bulbs inside of there now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like now with the LEDs when it's lit up. That's quite a difference. As you can see, that's quite a difference between the LED bulb and the other bulb. It's quite a bit brighter. And only time will tell, but I'm really hoping that the LEDs do not conduct as much heat, even with those little reflectors in there to shine the light forward, that we don't get any distortion on this lens cover. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this little adventure. And as always, stay positive, work hard, make it happen.